Hey, everybody, we're going to talk a little bit about the Dissect podcast as a template, a means by which we can use the style or use at least part of the analytics that were put on display in this particular podcast. I want to be very careful in framing this from the onset. I am not in any way saying, wow, this is the bomb, this is the only way to go. In some ways, it can always seem awkward when you have people of different races critiquing or thinking through what something means for another person of a different race who's an artist. It can seem a little bit strained at times even impositional, especially given the context that we're in right now. So I want to really say that from the outset. And I am really, secondly, also using this as a means, not as an end. I'm not wanting a discussion about whether we necessarily agree or disagree with what the host has to say about Kendrick Lamar's album. I'm really looking at it as a rhetorical means to kind of say, oh, we might do similar moves in our own critique of a song and an artist. All right, with that in mind, look for a central theme. That's what he does right away, right? He looks and recaps from his previous episode. He talks about wickedness versus weakness dichotomy in Kendrick Lamar's album, Damm. So he says in this example, weakness leads to life through selflessness, forgiveness and peace, and wickedness leads to death through selfishness, vengeance, and violence. It's an interesting setup. It's an interesting interpretation. And we might even say, wow, that's highly speculative. How'd you get that? Do you really see that? Is that, absolute? And we'd have to say, here's where literature allows for some bend and where it can be specious. And I'm glad that he used the word speculation, as I have some hiccups. Indeed. So I'm glad he called these three layers, or what he interpreted with these three layer speculations. And one of these were analysis of parallels to historical mythological characters. In his case, he said that Kendrick might be painting, even in the first song, some idea of a weak person that then has to be sacrificed. And he said, wow, mythologically or religiously, you might say that relates to a Moses or to a Jesus figure. And then secondly, he then drops into Kendrick's own life and what's going on. And he particularly cites Fox News as the ending of the first song, the first cut in the album Damm, where there's two excerpts where these Fox News hosts are saying, wow, this rap culture is horrible. And they're citing specifically lyrics from his particular song. At least I believe that. I'm trying to remember that particular context. So, but yes, definitely critical of rap culture in general. And so you can see two possibilities for yourself here in how you might analyze a song would be, again, look at how the characters might be parallel to a mythological character or another character, let's say in DC Comics, or, a well-known character in some kind of narrative framework, a Star Wars character, if you will. Our own modern, if you will, mythologies that we've got in everything from DC to Marvel to Star Wars. So the third was to analyze the song in terms of societal factors, and this was the idea of in this particular podcast how he's looking at just the whole notion of Black Lives Matters. Interestingly, almost predating it, because the podcast came into that space really between even like the protest of a Colin Kaepernick in 2016 and what's going on right now. So I think that's always a very good framework to always go back to the grounding of history and context of when the song was written and perhaps how it might even obliquely relate to what was going on at the time. All right, consider the role a musician might be playing. Is he actually playing a typecast? And in this case, you could say it's a push, right? For sure. But it's an interesting way to, again, frame it. I'm not necessarily agreeing or disagreeing. I'm just saying consider the possible role. And in this case, he's calling Kendrick Lamar a prophet, similar to a religious prophet. So secondly, consider the music itself. He talks about the whole idea of the way the song starts out in the first few 10 minutes, as you recall, hopefully. Thirdly, he says he considers motifs and labels for genres, and he talks a little bit about braggadocio rap and what that is and how it often allows critics to dismiss rap wholesale. And he then quotes Jay-Z as a counterpoint. And this is another great move to use. He quotes from Jay-Z's work Decoded. Those of you who don't know, Jay-Z is a big producer, just in case, just going to mention. But citing a book or article for counter opinions is a great idea. Citing it just even for a root definition is great, especially because Jay-Z is an authority in rap. So another consideration would be to define key terms through outside sources. So he then defines DNA. We might say that felt a little rote, but on the other hand, and maybe even a little bit of a stretch, but definitions are the root of good academic writing. So I want to underscore that, not necessarily vouch for the way he did it. Consider whether the lyrics refer to any historical or context-based references. And this is very similar to the point earlier made that, there's a layer of analysis to society, but this might go back even further. So in this case, he talks a little bit about the family history, not just the society history that might have influenced Kendrick's work. Consider themes across the artist's work, and he mentions Kendrick will often respond to critics. Consider looking up interviews with your artist, and he does have excerpts. He had an interview from, I believe it was Big Boy, and I can't remember, forgive me on that, but having clips of interviews to which to go to. So do Google the YouTubes, if you will, of those. Look also in Rolling Stone, look also for just Googling in general, interview with. See if there's any other primary source that you can get to. All right, use grab analysis of the lyrics, music, and video. And this is the baseline for almost everything we'll do in this unit. Again, looking for gaps, something that you think should have been there that's not. Looking for repetitions, looking for anomalies, that means something odd, and then looking for binaries where there seems to be two ideas in tension. And when we look at that through the lyrics, the music, and the video, always keep your analysis tight to what is rather than impose an interpretation right away. And I say, well, we don't want to impose it all, so I'll strike that. But we're quick often to leap the fence from working with facts, working with establishment to interpretation. And it's such a great academic move to just give yourself time to build a really nice tall wall before you get on top of it and then make your point, because you've got a wider view than you've helped, if you will, your audience kind of climb up with you layer by layer by presenting those analytics, by giving us, if you will, what, if you will, repetitions in the lyrics and themes, and then something odd and something contradictory or slightly in opposition as a binary. So when you do all that layering, you give us also a sense of authority. You're helping us walk through a process. You're helping, literally say, hey, pick up that cinder block. We're going to build this wall one notch up higher. You're inviting your audience to build alongside you, which is a really cool thing too. All right, so keep it tight. We're going to definitely center on that in our drafting process, because one of the big fallacies, one of the things that you have to be really careful not to pitch into is going so quick to interpretation that we don't have a basis on which we can plausibly stand. Meaning that we're coming in with the opinion, we're coming in hot, and it might even be great, but it's subjective and it's just not grounded yet. And so we're not ready for it. So we want to bring in, if you will, a conversation. You don't want to come in the room without a tool, without your, if you will, you don't want, you need your mortar mix ready, right? You need your trowel, and then we've got the cinder blocks. And so all those base elements are ready. And the equivalent here is that we've got the lyrics, we've got the video, we've got the outside sources. I might even say the outside sources might be equivalent to having other workers on the wall with you. And you can kind of reference from Jay-Z over here, so-and-so over here. Do you want to join me? Wink. I'm building this wall. I said, well, you're bringing Jay-Z in. I might want to come in. So in other words, you're building in your writing all these references that are going to give you authority to be able to say what you need to say. All right, guys, here's my little awkward moment of trying to stop this. Oh, I'm actually able to do it. All right, guys,